Hello and welcome to the Women's Growth Series. My name is Brianna Harris and I'm here today with Kim Clancy, Christina
Hi.
Harmes, Chanell Zimmerman,
Hi.
and we're going to be discussing connecting and communicating with clients of different generations. I would like to start off with which generation you mainly work with and how you get in front of your clients. Christina, do you want to start us off?
Sure. Thanks for having me. First off, I'm super excited to be here. I work with seniors, so I do reverse mortgages. So my client base is only age 60 and up. Sometimes we work with their kids, but the majority all seniors.
Awesome. And Kim?
Hi there. So I primarily work with people age 30 to 50.
Wonderful. And Chanel?
Hi, I've got the lovely 19-year-olds to about 38 to 40 seems to be my nice niche.
Wonderful. So we've got the full everybody covered from first-time home buyers, refinance, reverse mortgages, second homes, everything that we need. All right, so let's dive into it. So people value time differently, and understanding others' priorities and values will aid in knowing how and what to communicate with them. How do your clients communicate with you best? And how do they let you know when it's a time of urgency and vice versa? Kim, would you like to start?
Sure, thank you. So I think it's really just understanding people. There's not a set, I do this and I do this. I can typically get a feel from them immediately if they're going to be the people that are going to call me a lot, or they're just going to text message, or we're going to communicate mostly via email. So I set the expectation for it, and I, will let them know, hey, it went into underwriting. I will let you know when it comes out, so that it's not a constant what's happening. So I do set the expectation, but they just communicate however they want, and I feel like everybody is different.
Yeah, I agree. And do you feel that when clients prefer one way of communicating, they let you know, or do you ask them first?
I think that I just figure it out. I don't say what's the best way to communicate. I can tell pretty much initially that, for example, if I say, hey, it's a purchase person, and I say, hey, go ahead to my online application before I have a phone call with them, and they want to have a phone call, I know that that's going to be a person that is going to need a lot more communication via phone than just shooting off, a text or something like that. So I kind of just get a feel for what the person's looking for.
That's a great quality to have, and to be able to sense what your clients need without you directly asking them. Christina, what is your technique with your clients?
I ask right off the bat, real open, do you use email? And that question will answer most everything I need to know. In past years, that answer was no, a lot more, but this boomer generation, a lot of them are retiring, having had to learn tech. So a lot of them are actually doing email, but still very, very high touch on the phone calls. So if they are emailing, we are still always calling. They're still calling us. I actually don't get that many texts. Every now and then we'll have a client who does want a text, but it's pretty rare in what I do. It's mostly phone. Some people don't do email at all. And so in that case, we'll work in the mail, and then it's all over the phone, like as if it was 1987.
Wow.
Do you ever feel like you deal with areas of frustration with clients involving, a miscommunication with how to operate emails, or with calling and maybe you can't get a hold of them right away? Are there any issues with that?
We used to have a lot more, and that was really just on me coming from forward mortgages, trying to get my clients to do business the way I did business. I've learned to be really open and adapt to them. So yes, the frustration with technology is real. If you try to teach your client too much tech, they are going to get so overwhelmed and frustrated, and sometimes they just disappear. So with that, we've learned to not to try to teach too much. See where they're at. Do they want to learn how to open the PDF? Okay, the PDF's not opening. That's fine. We'll throw one in the mail to you. Do you have a fax machine? I can't believe how many of my clients still have a fax machine in their own home. So that's a primary way that we communicate.
That's wonderful. All right, Chanell, let me know what your techniques are and how you get in front of those younger generations.
So I usually ask right off the bat if they prefer text or call. Email is constant. So if you're not getting an email from me, you're getting an email from my awesome operations team. So I've never really had anyone who doesn't email. So it's mostly texting, especially with people who are working other jobs. Like I have a lot of people who are servers or they're at work, and so they can text me all day, about their loan, but they don't have time for a call. So.
And that makes a lot of sense. I mean, there's a lot of statistics out there around the impact of texting, but it is a lot with that younger generation. Whereas Christina, my grandma only texts me emojis. Like she likes to write a story in emojis. I never know what she's saying, but I would assume that that's not the best way to get a loan closed through emojis. No. So not being face to face. I know that we're all starting to be able to be face to face in some situations, but it was a huge limitation for everybody to get over. How did you get creative in communicating with your clients, and how did you adapt to that change? Christina, would you like to go first?
Sure. I think I probably had the most uphill adaptation with my clients. When I first started in reverse years ago, the sell was, we'll come and meet you in your home and be at your kitchen table. And so I'd bring all the documents all printed out, because a lot of them didn't do email. When the transition hit, we had a lot of clients who still really wanted to meet in person. But over the last few years, because of my own time limitation, I've learned to use Loom, which I love. You just did a whole session on that. Loom has been heaven sent for my business. I've learned to use Loom and do my whole presentation in that so they could watch it. Because even if they do email, most don't do it well. So they could at least click on the link and watch the video and then send that to their kids. Their kids need to see all of the presentation. So we did have clients who still wanted to meet face to face. When that happened, I also was starting to get pregnant. And so very quickly it became apparent, okay, I need to protect the seniors, and I can't do that if I'm going house to house to house. At the same time, their grandkids were teaching them how to use Zoom. So I got a very, very nice influx of technology taught to my clients for me, because in the loan process, you can't teach them how to do this if it's just too much. They get frustrated. Sometimes you can, but by and large, so many more seniors have moved on to learning how to do Zoom and just the basic email. And so we'll do Zoom and we'll do the Loom recordings, and then still phone calls and work by mail. We do still have that client who wants to meet face to face, and we just kind of say that, for your protection, we're working in mail and email just for now. At some point, I'd love to meet you in the future.
I love that you use Loom. And for those watching right now that didn't see the how-to or have never heard of Loom, can you give just a tiny little brief on what Loom is?
Loom is the key to your time efficiency. So for me, I have to repeat what I say to my clients like 2 or 3 times because they're seniors and it's a lot of information. Loom helped me have that conversation once in a recorded format. I screen share, I voice over, you can have yourself on camera, and I voice over my whole analysis, going through all of the different mortgage numbers, the next steps, and record that video for them. And then you just copy the link and put it into an email. So it's similar to other services, except I like the flexibility. I can use any email platform. It's not a CRM. You just grab that link and then put it wherever it's going.
Yeah, I love Loom. I use it all the time, and it's really, really easy to use. All right, Chanell, would you like to go over how do you adapt it to some of the limitations we've been dealing with?
So mostly, and this makes my dad crazy, I work for his company. I wouldn't really see my clients until the closing table. So it's not really that different for me with the limitations. The closings were weird with, having to be in the car and things like that, but nothing really changed outside of that for me. I have done refinances for women who I've only spoken to on Facebook Messenger, they've given me all of their information just through Messenger. So I'm not used to face-to-face that often.
Yeah, and I I've spoken with you prior, and there's so many other options for that younger generation that they prefer to use. So it offers you that availability to not have to worry about the face-to-face, which is really nice. Kim, what are some of the adaptations you had to implement?
Well, I'm right with Chanell. I don't normally meet with the people until the closing. So they don't normally come into the office. So there was really no change for me at all that I had to do. The biggest thing is just not being able to like do the fun things, like events and stuff like that, where you get to connect with people. But as far as everyday loan stuff, I didn't change anything.
That's nice. And that's nice because you can continue doing exactly what you were doing. There's no real hiccups in your business now or after all of this COVID is over. So that's a great option to have. What are some of the marketing strategies that you use? I'm sure, you are all really personable. So that just having that connection and meeting people in your community is really great. But are there any other marketing strategies that you use to find clients? Chanell, would you like to go first?
Of Facebook. I use Facebook way more than people would think, and it's not in the way that you would think it is. I'm not running a blanket ad that just keeps running through your newsfeed. I'm in Facebook groups with moms that are my age and the neighborhood groups, and if you get a chance to admin one of those groups, that's really how you get to know your community, and that's how you can really get in there and be that person that they're referring to other people, just through the Facebook groups with neighborhoods and moms and things like that.
When you're interacting with different communities on Facebook, do you use your Facebook business page, and do you utilize a Facebook business page to have consumer content on there?
So I do have a Facebook business page. However, my personal page brings me more business than my business page. My business page is there to have, because you should have one, but my personal page is really how I connect with other people, commenting on their kids' pictures and, looking at their dog videos and those sorts of things. People want to relate to another person.
Yes, I completely agree. And I tell people all the time, with your business, I heavily recommend leaning into your business page. I know it can be a little bit of a challenge to get it going and to compete with your personal, but having those personal touches on your business page, it helps bridge that connection, and it allows your clients to get to know who you are. All right, Kim, what are some of your marketing strategies?
So for me, I'm just very, very involved with my community. It started many years ago being football mom, being on the PTO, like it started at that grounds level. And, it's just built from there. But I go to our community events and just go, even if I'm not sponsoring or have anything, just go. I know this sounds crazy, but it's like you eat at the restaurants that are local, you shop at the local stores, you do all these things that help your town or the area that you're in or your community, but it comes back to you, and so that's a big thing that I do is being really involved in that. And then I also am a very, touchy-feely kind of person. So I'm constantly doing little things for people, past clients or agents or other referral partners, just like dropping off little things to them. I see on Facebook that they wanted to get a book, like, oh, let me borrow this book from this person. Well, I go and I pick up the book and drop it off, just little things like that. And that's how most of my business comes.
I love that. And I remember the first time I got to meet you in person, you immediately walked up to me, gave me a hug, introduced yourself. I felt comfortable in front of you within seconds. It meant a lot, and it helped you stand out in my mind. Whenever I'm in the groups or anything like that, I always, I remember you, remember that interaction, and it speaks volumes.
Thank you.
Of course. All right, Christina, let me know some of your marketing strategies.
I actually use Facebook a lot. And what's interesting is I don't get client interaction that much on Facebook. I get a lot of referrals, especially from realtors. The reverse mortgage for purchase loan is really unknown. So I talk about that a lot, and it sparks a lot of interest. And then the other thing I was thinking as you were asking these questions, if I were starting out today, I would be really in the community like Kim. And I was in a BNI, I was in Toastmasters, I was constantly at senior fairs and events. And reverse is such a niche and such a specific thing. Over the years, I've really worked hard to make sure I'm positioned as the expert and know my guidelines. I read guidelines for fun. So that flywheel has really started. So I'm pretty much all referral based. It's interesting. I don't interact with clients that much or market to clients, but because I've built this big referral base of other expert or other professionals, financial planners, realtors, in some cases, loan officers who don't do reverse, they know me as the reverse expert. And so that flywheel, I just get lots and lots of business from that now, but it took about a decade to build.
Yeah, and it does. It'll take a lot of time. And I was going to say, you've done such a great job at marketing yourself as that go-to reverse expert. You host a ton of lives, and you just did that mastermind. That consistency and constantly plugging and letting people know, you don't know everything that you need to about reverse mortgage. Let me teach you. That goes a long way. And then it brings you business from within the community.
Yeah.
All right. So with the relationships that you currently have, how do you maintain them? Do you have any strategies behind maintaining relationships? Kim, you want to go first?
So yes, this is my favorite thing to talk about. So one of the things that I do is I have my top people list. So I have my favorite people, which are people that, may or may not ever do a loan with me, but they're always referring me. And they're my closest friends a lot of times, the girl down the street that's just a neighbor. I know she's not going to do anything. I mean, maybe a refinance, but she will always give me props. So I have my favorite people list. I have my favorite agent list. And then I have my favorite past client list. And so I do different things for each one of them. But across the board, every single person on one of those lists gets a birthday cupcake. And so I have the cupcake delivered to their house on their birthday. And then right now you'll see, if you follow me on Facebook, you'll see next week we are doing about 250 pop buys to different, all these people on this group, in these groups with different agents. I do things like, so I'm also really focusing on VA in my town, because I was really surprised at how many people have a VA loan in my town at high interest rate. So about on Veterans Day, I delivered and hand delivered 350 postcards with a $5 Starbucks gift card, just thanking them for their service and to have a cup of coffee on me. And so we're doing this again for Valentine's Day, but it's like a QR code for my local bakery. And so just, keeping the community involvement with that, but just, like I said, just being in front of people, letting them know that they're special. And, when I get referred on Facebook or any place else, I never take that for granted. I never even just like it. I always say thank you or make a comment. It was great to work with you also, because I just think that makes people feel special, and that's just, they are special. So make them feel that way.
Yeah, I completely agree. And having that passion and that true care in what you're doing and for your clients, it speaks volumes. I tell people all the time, people can read fake, or they can read when you're trying to sell them something too much. And that's not what they want. They want to trust you and feel like they have a connection with you. I get so many messages on Facebook from people, and within like a second, you can tell if they're trying to sell you something. And in my mind, I'm immediately like, all right, no, thank you.
Yeah. You can't fake it.
No, you can't fake it. And there's no reason to fake it. You're a mortgage broker. Love what you do. Have that connection. Nurture those relationships.
Agreed.
Yeah. All right. Chanell, how do you maintain a relationship with that younger generation?
So exactly what Kim was just saying, just be authentic, be human, really nurture that relationship, because especially with a first-time home buyer, that was a very emotional and a first for them. And they're always going to remember that experience. They'll always remember who, helped them get their first home loan. So you really want to stay as a human in front of them, not someone who just pushed paper or helped them sign. You want to just stay human. So I do things like after they close, I prefer to do dinners instead of a closing gift. It's just a way for us to sit down and kind of talk to one another and get to know each other outside of the business that we just went through in the transaction. It kind of puts it aside and gives us a chance to connect on a more relationship basis. So I think post-closing dinners are better than post-closing gifts, in my opinion.
I like that idea. And I think like when you're trying to sell your community, I always tell people like, think about the hidden gems or your favorite restaurants or like staples of your community. So I love that you do the restaurants. I, as a future first-time home buyer, I don't have a home yet. I would love a night out for some wine and delicious food and just get to know different hot spots in the community.
Exactly. And, and I was telling you earlier, I work with mostly women, and a lot of them have their own businesses. Like if it's Avon or they're selling leggings or any of those sorts of things, host a party. They're always trying to get someone to host it. And, they do business with you, do business with them. And just like what Kim said, support your local restaurants and local businesses. Like it all goes around. So.
Yeah, that's wonderful. All right, Christina, your turn. How do you maintain relationships?
Yeah, so in reverse, it's not that likely that someone's going to do a refinance. Right now, we actually have kind of an influx, but it's pretty rare. So my marketing efforts and relationship building is again with referral partners mostly. My clients get a birthday card. I just think that's sweet. A senior should get a birthday card. They get a Christmas card. But my ongoing trying to make sure my relationships are with loan officers, financial planners, realtors. They get Christmas cards, of course, but being the expert in reverse, answer your phone. It's really that simple. So I make sure they know when they call, I'm going to answer the phone and I will answer whatever question, because it's not always, oh, I have this new client who needs a reverse. Sometimes, and a decent portion of that time, it's, I have this client and they got this weird mail. Can I send it to you and you tell me what you're looking at? Or I have a client who wants to sell their home. How does that work with the reverse mortgage? Being there to answer all the random weird questions and then run scenario after scenario, because a lot of reverses don't work. So they'll bring me a client and it doesn't work. And I've got to explain to them why and help educate them in the process. So really just being open with my time has been kind of the key for my relationship building. With financial planners, especially, they don't understand reverse like you would expect them to.
Do you have to implement a lot of time blocking in order to have that balance with your life and with work?
I didn't used to, and I had no work-life balance. I worked all hours and weekends. Wanting to get pregnant and getting pregnant, I've needed to conserve my own energy. So I actually have a team, and my team, some of them are as expert as I am. So if I can't answer the call, I have someone call them back right away. So I definitely have constricted my own work hours and time blocking a little. Clients and financial planners they want what they want when they want it. And so if I ask them to call between 1 and 2, that's not really a effective way for me, at least. I hopefully one day we'll get there, but I just have someone else who can handle that call if I'm in the middle of something like a recording.
Yeah. And that's a great option to have. And there's so many platforms anymore that if you can't answer a call, it'll be redirected to somebody else's phone, and it just becomes that there's no reason why a client can't be responded to or why you can't answer the phone. Do you do any special closing gifts?
I do actually. So one of the things in reverse is that you put someone in a reverse mortgage, and when they're 65, they understand all the concepts, all the intricacies, how it works, all the options. By the time they're 75 or 85, they've forgotten all of that, as would anyone with a mortgage with this many complexities. So I actually include, I have it on my shelf if I can grab it.
Yeah,
I include a reference book for them. Let me grab it.
Okay.
So in addition to their closing docs, because their closing docs are this thick, right? And it's really hard to understand. This book is put out by Dan Hultquist, and I mail it to every single client after closing. It's really cool. And I write a little thank you note and a little explanation saying, keep this with your documents so you and your heirs can reference this in the future. It is actually, the way the chapters are laid out, it's the common, most frequently asked questions. It starts with, what is a reverse mortgage, right? Because their kid doesn't even know what it is. What are the heirs' options? Can I sell my home? So we highlight the specific chapters, like if they have a line of credit, we'll highlight that, whatever's pertinent to their specific loan, and ask that they keep that for reference in the future. I also put my business card in there so that if and when the heirs need to call to understand what they should do, I'm right there with the rest of the book and the loan docs.
That's wonderful. And you've touched on it several times, and it's a priority, but everything that you do, you make sure it not only connects with your client, but also their children or their heirs. And I think that's really smart and something that you should absolutely keep in mind with every step that you're taking. I love that. All right. So before we close out today, I just want to hear any additional advice you have for people looking to get in front of clients, whether it be first-time home buyers, people looking to refinance, or those looking to get a reverse mortgage. Chanell, why don't you start us off?
I would say any advice to get in front of clients would just get in front of them in any way that you can, be it social media, events in your community, just do it in any way. There's not a secret way, one way that's better than the other. It's going to be however you best translate what you do and get people to trust you. So
do you, with working with that younger generation, do you think that it's beneficial to stay on top of trends, or do you utilize any other social media platforms to better connect you with those clients?
So I've kind of battled with this, and people have been like, try Instagram and this, and I truly feel like if there's one that works for you, just stick with it. If it's not broken, don't fix it. And should I get to the point where I feel like I'm not getting enough business from Facebook, then I would move over. But right now, I think one platform it's good enough. But yeah, there's a lot of different social media trends that are out there. Like TikTok is something that I'm considering making little videos just to explain like the mortgage process or first time home buying. But other than that, I think I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible.
Yeah, and I'm sure that helps with your time management as well. Being across all different platforms, that's a whole nother beast in itself.
Yes, with 2 little girls, it's a lot.
Yeah. Kim, what is some advice that you'd give the community around maintaining those relationships and getting in front of clients, all that good stuff?
Well, first I want to tell Chanell, okay, you got to do a TikTok. I'm obsessed with the TikToks, but I can't do them to save my life. And my son is like, I'm never teaching you how to do them. I have all these TikToks in my head, like, I can't talk right now, I'm doing hot girl, You got to do it. You got to be like, I can't talk right now, I'm doing hot mortgage girl stuff or whatever, right? And like have your hair all crazy and glasses and oh my God, I come up with all the ideas for the TikTok. So I think that would be really fun.
If you help me come up with the ideas.
Yes. And you figure out how to film them, I'll come up with the ideas. But
sounds like a plan.
Yeah, exactly. I just think it's exactly what Chanell said. I mean, just, whatever you enjoy doing, do it well. And if you like to be on social media, be on social media. If you like to sponsor events, Just figure out what you like doing the best and just do it really well. I definitely think you dabble in a couple of different things. You can't just be on Facebook perhaps, but you might have to show your face out at places. You can't just show your face out at places. People have to see how they can connect with you. So yeah, I think exactly what Chanell said, just figure out what it is that you like to do and what you connect best with people, because that's 100% what it is, connecting with people. Long gone are the days that as a loan officer, when I started 20 years ago, we just talk internet leads all day long from LendingTree, just all day long, internet leads, right? Cold calls. And it's like, those days are long gone, you know, unless you're at certain companies, but the way that you're going to get business is by getting out there and meeting people.
Yeah, that is true. Do you use anything to stay on top of what clients you currently have?
Well, we have a CRM, so I use Top of Mind for my CRM. And then, you know, as far as active clients, we have like a Google Sheet pipeline that my whole team, everybody gets in there, so everybody knows what's going on at any given time. But is that what you mean? Like that kind of?
Yeah.
So,
how are you managing your pipeline, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so that we manage it really nothing complicated through Google Sheets, and then we drop them in Top of Mind and have at it.
That's awesome. And whatever system works best for you. And it's always good to try and adapt and learn new stuff, especially with the market is still insane. So as you get more clients, how you can just make it work for your team in the best way. All right, let's wrap it up with Christina. What is some advice you would give to people looking to maybe do a reverse mortgage and want to figure out how to make that connection and all that kind of stuff with the elderly clients?
Yeah. Reverse mortgage, it takes a high level of trust. And I have found a lot of power in sharing my voice and sharing my clients' stories, not just we closed in 7 days, congratulations, client, really going into the details of what it was like when this person first came to me. And typically they're fearful and they don't understand. And walking people through that client experience with an actual client story. I always change the name for privacy purposes, but really getting active with my voice in that, because I'm not just preaching, oh, reverse mortgage is amazing. I'm actually showing people the transformation that can be done with the reverse mortgage, and they typically have no idea. So the client stories, and I share them on Facebook, I share them in lives. The other part is CRM. I think CRM is so important. The reverse mortgage sales cycle is about 9 months. Which, you know, yeah, I love Kim's face. I love people's faces when I say that. So from the time they first have interest to the time they actually move forward, it's about 9 months. So you have to stay in front of that person. We have a CRM for the email people. We have monthly calls for the people who do not do email. And then birthday cards, Christmas cards, just making sure that when they're ready or something happens, they've got your contact info.
It's kind of funny that the reverse mortgage is 9 months and you're expecting a baby, which is also 9 months. It's like perfect. The reverse baby. All right. Well, thank you so much, ladies, for joining me today. You really provided a lot of great insight that I think our community can benefit from. And I just hope everybody enjoys the rest of their evening, and make sure you tune in next Monday at 6 p.m. for our next Women's Growth Series. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.